The closet door slammed open, the entire room shuddering as if the walls themselves were breathing. My mouth went dry, shapes shifted in the dark, humanoid but wrong. Tall, thin things, their limbs too long, their bodies contorted in ways that defied anatomy. Their skin was like damp paper, stretched tight over bones that jutted at odd angles. One of them stepped forward. I stumbled back, but something cold wrapped around my wrist. My breath hitched. I didn't have to look to know what had grabbed me. The grinning man. The moment I felt his grip, everything changed. The room melted away. The air turned thick and suffocating. A deep guttural hum filled my skull, not in my ears, but inside my mind. My vision swam, the walls warping, twisting, shifting, until suddenly I wasn't in the house anymore. I was in the clearing, the same one from the television. I barely had time to react before I realized I wasn't alone. They were everywhere. The hollow ones, standing in a perfect circle, their heads tilted, their empty eyes locked on me. The grinning man was there too, just beyond them, his mouth still twisted in that grotesque, unnatural smile. And then I heard it. A voice from behind me, slow, familiar. A voice I never should have heard again. "You shouldn't have looked away." I turned and saw my uncle. His eyes were missing. I couldn't breathe. My uncle stood before me, his skin pallid, stretched thin over his face like wax about to melt. But it was his eyes, or rather the absence of them, that paralyzed me. Two empty sockets, gaping holes where his eyes should have been, raw and oozing. His lips moved, but his voice, it didn't come from his throat. It came from everywhere. "You shouldn't have looked away." My stomach twisted. I wanted to scream, to turn, to run, but the moment I tried, my legs refused to move. The air around me was wrong, thick like tar, pressing in on me, suffocating. Then they moved. The hollow ones. They stepped forward in unison, their limbs jerking unnaturally like broken marionettes. Their faces were devoid of features, just smooth, pale skin where their eyes, noses, and mouths should have been. But they didn't need eyes, because they saw me anyway. The static returned, drilling into my skull, filling my head with something more than just sound, thoughts that weren't mine. Images flashed through my mind like a reel of film on fire.